If you are seriously considering Coral Gables, you have probably already done some research. You have seen the photos of the beautiful canopy streets, the Mediterranean architecture, the Biltmore. You know that the neighborhood has a reputation and that the reputation has been earned. But the questions I get most often from buyers who are actually close to making the decision are not about the aesthetics. They're about the practical stuff. What is traffic actually like day to day? How are the schools? Really, not just the general narrative. And what does it feel like to live there once the novelty of the neighborhood wears off and it just becomes your regular life? Those are the right questions, and today I'm going to answer all three of them honestly. The way I would answer them if you were sitting across from me at a kitchen table, not the way a brochure would. I worked in Coral Gables for 14 years. I know this city deeply, and my goal in this video is to give you a clear, honest picture of what daily life in the Gables actually looks like, so that if you buy there, you go in with your eyes fully open. Let me start with the traffic because I think it's the topic that generates the most anxiety amongst buyers who are considering the Gables, and I want to give you the nuanced answer rather than a simple good or bad. The honest truth is that Coral Gables sits in one of the more challenging traffic corridors in all of South Florida. That stretch of US 1 westbound through Coral Gables ranks among the top 5 most congested road segments in Miami, with drivers losing up to 30 hours annually just in afternoon rush hour on that specific corridor. That is a real number, and if US 1 is part of your daily commute, you are definitely going to feel that. But here's the context that matters. Miami as a whole ranks 5th in the country for the worst traffic, with the typical driver losing around 105 hours per year. Rush hour runs roughly 7 to 9 in the morning and 4 to 7 in the evening. Coral Gables is not an outlier in Miami's traffic landscape. It is a participant in it. And anyone telling you that Coral Gables has uniquely terrible traffic has probably never sat on the MacArthur Causeway or tried to get out of Kendall at 5 p.m. on a Friday. What is specific to Coral Gables is US 1. That corridor is essentially unavoidable if you are moving in and out of that neighborhood on the main axis. Unlike Coconut Grove or South Miami, where you can sometimes route around the heaviest congestion, US 1 is the spine of Coral Gables. If your daily life takes you through it regularly, you will feel it every single day. The other thing worth understanding is that Coral Gables is not just a residential city, it's a major employment hub. The University of Miami, Baptist Health South Florida, and dozens of corporate headquarters are located in Coral Gables. That concentration of employers means daytime traffic is not limited to rush hour peaks. Midday congestion is real, and if you are working from home or running errands in the mid-afternoon, you will still encounter it on the main corridors. The Metro Rail is worth mentioning because it is genuinely useful for a specific type of commuter. The University of Miami Station gives Coral Gables residents a real transit option if their destination is along the rail line toward downtown, Brickell, or further north. But for most daily trips, most residents are in their cars. The buyers I see navigate this best are the ones who did two things before they closed. They drove their actual commute route during actual rush hour before making an offer, and they bought in a pocket of the Gables where they could handle at least some of their daily errands and dining on foot, reducing how often they have to get on US 1 at all. The buyers who struggle the most are the ones who bought for the address and discovered the friction afterward. Now let me get into the schools because this is the section I want to spend most of my time on. As we know, Coral Gables is fundamentally a family neighborhood. It is always and has always been a family neighborhood, and the school ecosystem here is one of the most complete and compelling in South Florida. But it is also one of the most nuanced, and buyers deserve to understand the full picture, not just the headline. So let me walk you through it the same way I would walk my clients through it. From the earliest years through middle school, through high school, and then something that most people never think about until they get here, which is what the University of Miami actually means for this neighborhood and everyone who lives inside of it. Let me start with the very early years because Coral Gables has options here that most moving to Miami don't even know exist. The first one is the Growing Place. This is a Christian early childhood center serving children from age 1 through kindergarten, located right on Coral Way in the heart of the city. It was founded in 1963 and it has the rare quality of feeling genuinely rooted in the community it serves. It welcomes families from all backgrounds, all faiths, and nationalities. If you have very young children and you want them to start in an environment that feels like a true community rather than a program, this is one of the first conversations worth having. Once you move into pre-K through elementary, the range of options in and immediately around Coral Gables is genuinely remarkable. And I want to be precise about a few of them because they each serve a different kind of family. St. Philip's Episcopal School, which I mentioned in my video about Coconut Grove schools, serves pre-K through 5th grade with about 180 students. It is a faith-rooted, intimate, and academically strong, and it draws families from both Coral Gables and Coconut Grove because of how consistently excellent the community there is. I know families personally who have sent their kids there, and the loyalty is real. Once families find St. Philip's, they tend to stay. St. Teresa's School is one of the oldest Catholic schools in Miami, founded in 1925, located in Coral Gables as the parish school of the Church of Little Flower. It serves pre-K through 8th grade with nearly 900 students, and tuition is around $8,200 a year, which makes it one of the most accessible private school options in this area. This is a multi-generational school. I have seen grandparents, parents, and children all go through St. Teresa. The parish connection matters here, and preference is given to Little Flower families and siblings. So if this school is on your radar, it helps to start building that relationship early. If Montessori is what you are looking for, Alexander Montessori School has a campus on Red Road near Coral Gables and South Miami, serving 18 months through grade 5. There are 4 campuses in total across South Miami corridor, and they even run a free shuttle from the Red Road location to the other campuses for families. Tuition runs roughly $24,000 to $30,000 depending on the level. Admissions are super competitive with waitlists, so early application really matters. This is a school where children genuinely love going. The approach is child-led and curiosity-driven, and the families it attracts are very intentional about education. For families looking for something more intimate and independent, the Mandelstam School is worth knowing. This is located in South Miami, just minutes from Coral Gables, serving pre-K through 5th grade with only about 76 to 80 students and a 6-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Tuition is around $27,871. This is a fully independent school, meaning it does not accept state scholarship programs, which allows it to maintain complete independence in how it designs and delivers its curriculum. The results speak for themselves. Riviera Day School has its lower school campuses right here in Coral Gables, serving pre-K through grade 5. It is the oldest independent school originally established in Coral Gables, founded in 1950. The student-teacher ratio is 9-to-1. Tuition runs about $29,300 in the lower grades. The prep school continues through 12th grade at a separate campus in Kendall, offering 27 AP courses and an exceptionally strong college preparatory program. For families with the Jewish faith tradition, Temple Beth Am Day School, now known as Rambam Day School, is located near the Coral Gables and Pinecrest border. It serves pre-K through 8th grade with about 324 students and a 7-to-1 student-teacher ratio, integrating Judaic studies with a strong general curriculum. Tuition is around $28,000. The community depth here is real, and for families who want faith, academics, and an engaged school community, this is a path that a lot of Gables families quietly choose. Now let me talk about the public options, because this is where Coral Gables genuinely surprises people. Coral Gables Preparatory Academy is the neighborhood's historic flagship public school. It sits in a Spanish colonial building commissioned by George Merrick himself in the 1920s. It serves kindergarten through 8th and runs multiple programs, including gifted, global tech, and an extended foreign language track. This is not just a good school, it is a school with a sense of identity and history that goes back to the founding of the city itself. David Fairchild Elementary is the public pre-K through 5th grade school with 478 students, 76% math proficiency and 79% reading proficiency, both well above the district and state averages. It has an extended foreign language program in Spanish and a magnet in Italian. The PTA is one of the most active I have seen in any public school in this area, and the community feels tight. Parents who move to the Gables specifically to be in this zone know exactly what they're doing. And then there is Somerset Gables Academy, which I want to spend a moment on because it doesn't always get the recognition it deserves. Somerset Gables is a public charter school serving kindergarten through 8th. It is tuition free, and the academic results are extraordinary. It ranks in the top 5% of all schools in Florida with an 80% math proficiency and 83% reading proficiency. For a family who wants exceptional public education without a tuition bill, Somerset Gables is one of the most compelling options in all of Miami-Dade. And the fact that it sits right here in Coral Gables is something buyers should absolutely factor in. Moving into middle school, the conversation in Coral Gables centers around Ponce de Leon Middle School, which is a public magnet school serving grades 6th through 8th. Ponce has been designated a Magnet School of Demonstration and School of Excellence by Magnet Schools of America. It is a gold STEM school. It has earned the Governor's Gold Award and Silver Award for academic performance. And it offers both a full international baccalaureate program and a full-time gifted program where students take self-contained language arts, mathematics, science, and humanities classes together. The IB track to Ponce is also a pipeline. Students who complete it receive a guaranteed seat in Coral Gables Senior High IB program, which creates real continuity through high school. The IB and gifted programs perform at a significantly different level than the school-wide average reflects. My consistent advice to families considering Ponce is what I say about almost every school. Do not just read the numbers online. Visit the campus, talk to the parents in the specific program you are considering. The experience inside the IB track at Ponce is a fundamentally different one. At the high school level, Coral Gables gives families both public and private paths that are genuinely strong, and I want to walk through all of them. On the public side, International Studies Preparatory Academy is the standout. It is a small, focused magnet serving grades 6 through 12 with only 313 students, a 16-to-1 student-teacher ratio, an A+ niche grade, and a ranking of 31 best public high school in the entire state of Florida. It has a 100% graduation rate. Students who attend consistently describe the community as one of the defining features of their education. It is admission-based, so it is not guaranteed by address. But for families who are thinking strategically about high school from the moment they buy, this is the public option that deserves serious attention. Coral Gables Senior High is the neighborhood's flagship public high school. It has 2,884 students, a 24-to-1 student-teacher ratio, and an 88 to 96% graduation rate. The IB program here, particularly for students who come through the Ponce's IB track, is a meaningful academic path. I want to be straightforward about the school-wide ranking, which sits in the middle of the Florida pack. But I also want to say what I genuinely believe, which is that the IB pipeline from Ponce into Coral Gables Senior High is one of the most underappreciated public school strategies available to families in this neighborhood. The families who understand and use the pipeline are getting something super exceptional. On the private side, Our Lady of Lourdes Academy is a Catholic all-girls school, serving grades 9 through 12 with 835 students and a 12-to-1 student-teacher ratio. It carries an A+ niche grade, ranks 62nd among all private high schools in Florida, and an 8th among Catholic high schools in the state. What makes Lourdes special is not just the academics, which are strong, but the culture. Graduates consistently talk about the sisterhood, the community, and the externship programs that give students real-world professional experience before they leave high school. For families with daughters, this is a school that produces genuinely well-rounded, confident young women. Gulliver Prep is one of the most recognized private schools in all of South Florida, With its lower school campus on Red Road in Coral Gables, it runs pre-K through 12th grade across multiple campuses, and it has a 7-to-1 student-teacher ratio at the lower levels, and tuition is ranging from $29,300 in the early grades up to $47,600 at the preparatory level. For families who want to establish a school home early and carry it through all the way through high school, Gulliver offers the continuity and that reputation. And then there is something that I want to close the school section with that most agents will not mention in this context, because it is not K through 12 option. It is the University of Miami. George Merrick founded the University of Miami in 1925 as part of his original vision for the city. It sits under the heart of Coral Gables today as one of the top private research universities in the country, and its presence shapes this neighborhood in ways that go far beyond higher education. The university runs a weekly farmers market every Wednesday, and during semester that has become a genuine community gathering point. Coral Gables residents get access to cultural events, academic lectures, health talks at Lennar Medical Center, and discounted tickets to sports events. The campus brings a cultural energy and an intellectual presence that is woven into the character of this neighborhood in a way that most people only understand after they've lived here for some time. And practically speaking, the university is also one of the largest employers in the area, along with Baptist Health South Florida and the dozens of corporate headquarters that call Coral Gables home. That employment density is part of why US 1 is what it is. But it is also a significant part of why property values here are as stable as they are. Coral Gables is not just a beautiful residential neighborhood. It is a functioning city built around one of the great research universities in South Florida. That matters for the long-term game. Now let me talk about what it actually feels like to live in Coral Gables once the novelty wears off and it's just your regular life. The first thing I tell people is that Coral Gables is one of the safest cities in Miami-Dade County. The violent crime rate is notably low compared to the national average, with roughly a 1 in 1,400 chance of being a victim of a violent crime. For families, for people relocating from higher crime urban environments, this is not a minor detail. It is one of the most meaningful quality of life factors in this neighborhood, and it is consistent year after year. The second thing is that the city actually functions. I say this because in Miami-Dade, functioning municipal services are not something you can take for granted. Coral Gables has its own police department, its own code enforcement, its own public works, and a city government that is genuinely engaged in maintaining the character and condition of the neighborhood. The streets are clean, the parks are maintained, the trees are managed. When something breaks, it is fixed. That sounds basic, but it is not universally true across the county. The lifestyle pacing is something buyers need to calibrate before they commit. Coral Gables is quieter than Brickell, more formal than Coconut Grove, and more established and settled than almost anywhere else in Miami right now. The restaurants on Miracle Mile and Giralda Plaza are generally good and walkable from the right pockets. The Venetian Pool, the Biltmore, the Granada Golf Course, these are not just making talking points. These are places residents actually use. The weekend energy in the Gables is warm and alive, particularly around Miracle Mile during the holidays, the Christmas tree lighting, and the farmers markets. For families, this is exactly the kind of community energy that is very hard to find anywhere else in the city. Where I see buyers miscalibrate is when they expect the Gables to feel more urban than it does. If you are coming from New York or Chicago and you want late night energy and a gritty creative scene, Coral Gables will feel quiet. It closes early, it is polished, and the community standards, the neighborhood associations, the historic preservation rules, the engaged city government mean there is a level of expectation around how the neighborhood looks and behaves that some people find deeply reassuring and others find constraining. The peacocks are real. If you have not heard about this, Coral Gables has a significant population of wild peacocks that roam the residential streets freely. They are beautiful, but they are also loud at 6 a.m. and they will sit on your car. I say this not to be funny, but because it is genuinely one of the things you either find charming about the Gables or you hate it. Most people who love this neighborhood love the peacocks too. It is that kind of place. The cost of daily life beyond housing is worth naming directly. Residents consistently note that Coral Gables is expensive to live in day to day. The restaurants, the parking, the services, the general consumer prices in the neighborhood reflect the positioning as an affluent, established city. If you are stretching to get into the housing, understand that the lifestyle costs will also run higher than the surrounding neighborhoods. I want to close with something I say to almost every buyer I work with who is seriously considering Coral Gables. The city has a true sense of identity. It has had it for nearly 100 years and will have it for the next 100 because the preservation framework that protects it is deeply embedded in how the city governs itself. The traffic is real, the school picture at the high school level requires understanding rather than assuming, and the lifestyle will not sit for every buyer. But for families who want the most stable, livable, community-oriented neighborhood in Miami, one where the streets are safe, the city functions, the architecture is beautiful, the school options across every age range are genuinely exceptional, and the sense of place is authentic, Coral Gables is the answer. The buyers who thrive here are the ones who went in informed, who understood the traffic before they were closed, who mapped out their school pipeline before they chose their street, who matched their real estate lifestyle to what this neighborhood actually offers. If you are weighing Coral Gables against other neighborhoods and you want to talk through what actually makes sense for your specific situation, reach out through the link in my description. I respond personally. If this video gave you a clearer picture, please subscribe. I put out honest, specific content like this every week because informed buyers make better decisions. This is the whole point of this channel. And if you have not watched my video on why people regret buying in Coral Gables, that one pairs directly with this one. Together, they give you the most complete picture of this market. I'll see you there. Not the way that a brochure would. It's probably, and anyone telling you that it is the oldest independent percent graduation, I missed it. Community and the external, Miracle Mile and Grinnell. I don't have to say the line.
No, you're fine.
Prices in the neighborhood reflect its